And we should be live now. Hello, everybody. Good to see you. I see Mel in the chat and up three and Juliet, Christopher. Hello, Dennis. Good to see you. And SE Disciple. I'm also live on D Live, which is great for those that are interested going on D Live. So today we are with, actually, I forgot actually to ask how I pronounce your name.
It's Ryushin.
Ryushin. I thought Russian, but yeah, Ryushin. We've got Ryushin today, and he's going to be talking about all the research he has done, and also before we start, let's just can you talk a bit about yourself, who you are, and where you're coming from?
Yes, of course. Thank you so much for having me on your show, Patricia. My name is Ryushin Malone. I'm a 41-year-old Zen Buddhist teacher. I haven't done any teaching in a while since I've gotten involved with my research, which has been researching the extraterrestrial phenomena. So I was teaching Zen Buddhism in Bangor, Maine, and one day I felt a touch underneath my chin, and it lifted my chin up while I was sitting meditation, and I looked down and I saw large eyes in front of me.
Wow.
And a translucent being about 3 feet tall. It looked like your typical gray, but it was like see-through. And all of a sudden, a second one popped out behind it with an iron rod and a quarter collar, and it pressed it up against my neck for about 3 seconds. And then it retreated back behind the first being and disappeared. And the being in front of me dropped my head, and it stepped backwards and turned to the right and disappeared. And after that experience, I went home and I was very excited because, what are they? They're real. They're here. Okay. Why are they coming to me? What was that all about?
Right.
So it was very shocking. It was exhilarating, exciting. Excuse me. I felt no malice from the beings, but with that experience, it really it told me that they were here, they were real, and that something's going on. And I started to investigate. And my website, the orionlines.com, is the result of the investigation. It's very complex because there's a lot of information. There's so much information on this subject. It's very complex, and it has been distorted, and we've been lied to. We haven't even been told anything about this except, there's nothing to it. When in reality, there's a lot to it. It's real. The alien UFO phenomenon has been a part of our lives since before time, before humanity.
Yeah.
It's my opinion that, in any direction of time, there will always be extraterrestrials flying around in any direction. I mean, before this universe, the universe before that universe, the universe before that universe, and, infinite. There will always be extraterrestrials flying around and tinkering with stuff.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, they obviously are also, most of them, a lot more intelligent than we are, because we're just like an infant compared to many other planets, I guess. So, it seems logical to me. And hi, John. Good to see you. And you have for Mark and Brad. I see you there in D Live and Filthpick. That name. Anyway, so where did you start then your research?
So what I did was I collected all the evidence I possibly could off of the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And, I started going through, I started going through, um, documentaries, talks. I started learning all of the UFO encounters that have, ever happened. And it's been 4 years and I'm still learning new UFO encounters. And like, I it's there's just so many. But what I realized is that about 80% of what's on the internet about extraterrestrials and aliens is all BS. It's all a deception. It is the most, from my perspective, it is the most convoluted topic there is on the face of the earth, the UFOs.
For a reason, obviously, but then
Yes.
also, I think a lot is like mixed truth with lies. So in order to
Yes.
confuse people,
Yes.
right?
Oh yes, there's that on both sides. And what that, what I realized is that our, dealing with the extraterrestrials, it led me straight into politics and religion.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, I I used
Everything is intertwined, right?
the whole human social societal structure, everything is based on extraterrestrial contact.
Yeah,
The elite secret societies all have to do with extraterrestrial contact.
yeah.
That's been their big secret.
So then how did you come up with the Nazca lines to research that and to
Sure. Well, someone brought it up that I should, I was looking for a symbol. I was looking for the Rigelian symbol. It's a teepee with a line through it with two circles at the top of it. And I was looking for it, and someone mentioned, why don't you look at the Nazca lines? And I said, okay. I went to go look, and all I could find were pictures of um, very, very small pictures of not the lines in its entirety, right? They were
Mhm.
just, regular pictures. And I'm like, well, where's the map to this thing? I want to see the map. I want to see what it looks like. And there was a map that was made in 1994 by USCOM, which is a historical society. And I played with that for quite some time, and I figured out that it's possible that it is the Orion groups, aliens from Orion, their territory markings, a three-dimensional star map.
Right.
Now, what happened was, after a while of playing with it, I realized that the map that this historical society had released was only about a 16th of the entire map.
Wow.
So, it's just a cover up. It's a cover up. They're covering it up. But what I did realize is that if I stretch all the way back and I look at the entire site, it's also in the shape of Orion. So, I really didn't have to change anything, saying that I solved the Nazca lines. And the Nazca lines is just a small piece of the bigger picture. And what's really going on here is that almost every single ancient site in throughout history aligns to Orion.
Really? Oh,
Yes.
yeah, like pyramids. Yeah.
The Giza pyramids, Teotihuacan in Mexico aligns to Orion's belt. The Shi pyramids in China aligns to Orion. You have The Stonehenge aligns to Orion. The Germany Stonehenge aligns to Orion. The Air Force Memorial in the back of the Pentagon, the three-pronged spire, aligns to Orion's belt at 33 degrees in the sky. And it goes on and on and on. There's the Adams calendar, which is 13,000 years old, aligns to Orion. But the other thing with all these sites aligning to Orion, the other commonality with these sites is human sacrifice.
Yes.
Very interesting.
Even today with new things like the Gotthard Tunnel they did in Switzerland, they always have these things around it. So that goes on like for ages now.
It's at almost every single culture, and all over the world at every different different times. And what I realized is that this is ambrosia or the nectar of the gods. That's what they were doing. It all has to do with extraterrestrials coming down here and going, what do you have to eat around here? And this is why they were offered, the whole child sacrifice thing, the whole sacrificing to the gods. This is why, because actually the beings out there, about 90%, it said, 90% of the beings out there are hostile.
So do you say that they dominated history and in general? So it was just them from Orion that dominated the world, so to speak, or Earth?
Mainly the Orion group and the Alpha Draconian. And right. If you've ever heard this, Alpha and Omega,
guess
what? Alpha Draconian, Omega Orion. So Alpha and Omega. That's where that comes from.
I didn't know about Omega.
The all-seeing eye.
Yeah.
We actually have many videos of the all-seeing eye, which is actually a tetrahedron. It's a pyramid-shaped craft. And it appeared above the Pentagon December 19th, 2018. And hovered above the Pentagon at 4:00 in the morning for about a half an hour. And it was a massive craft, but it is the all-seeing eye.
Oh, I remember that actually.
Which I renamed the Orion eye, because I found tablets with the all-seeing eye in Ecuador. There were 2 tablets with the all-seeing eye, and on the back of them were the constellation Orion. But not only this, Chet Hanks, Tom Hanks's son, has a tattoo of the all-seeing eye on his chest.
Well, many do.
Right next to his all-seeing eye is the Orion's belt. Orion's belt.
Oh wow!
So I knew that the all-seeing eye, the tetrahedron, comes from Orion.
But yet, many of those symbolism is also used for good, and not just for evil. But apparently, everything can be used for both, right?
Well, there are 2 sides. Okay, and it's known as what you would know as the balance.
Right.
And unfortunately, this whole thing, unfortunately for me, this whole thing led me right into religion, which, don't talk bad about religion. We know all about religion, but it led me straight into religion. The Orion group being a satanic force who takes over star systems. It really made a lot of sense with the human sacrificing going on, which is the adreno harvesting, which ties into the elite today from pizza, with all that, spirit cooking walnut sauce and all that, it ties in perfectly. So it makes sense that the Orion group, is who the Illuminati and the elite have been secretly worshiping this whole time behind humanity's back. Now,
Right.
on the other side, what does that mean for the other side of the balance? For the God, or the Christian God creator?
Well, is the other side a Christian God though? Because I do believe that the
But
God is like the creator of all, and
so we're told. So we've been told. But so we believe, and you can believe in whatever you want.
Mhm.
That's not what I'm here to argue. I'm here to put evidence, and make sense of the evidence, and ask, well, if one side is a satanic group, what's the other? And aliens,
Uh-huh.
what's the other side?
Well,
Would
I think
they
there's
would they be aliens too? Could they be aliens? So I think that they are, based on the evidence that I've been going through, especially with the Nazca alien mummies. And
Mhm.
I'll get into that. It's very touchy, isn't it? It's a very touchy subject, and I hate it because I think that a lot of people have been lied to about reality and about the way things are, and it shouldn't have been that way. And it's been like this, because the elite have been, well, it's been this way, and the elite knew all about it, and they were calling it something called night first.
What does that mean?
It means keeping humanity in the dark about reality, about the truth about them,
Right.
keeping them all in the dark. Why? Because we have secretly been living right next door to this Orion group, who have been a group of harvesters.
Right.
And they've been coming out of the ocean. They've been living in Antarctica. This is why there's a no-fly zone over the middle of Antarctica, in the middle of nowhere. What's down there? Why is there a no?
Recently they've been leaving there. A lot of
Yes.
people apparently that live there.
Yes, I do have evidence of the extraterrestrials fighting each other, like
Yes.
actually fighting each other, and a lot of activity on the moon. There has been a strong spike in these energy ball vehicles, I call them, because they look like miniature suns. They look like ball lightning, but they're actually the positive
Yeah.
alien
The
vehicle.
orbs. You mean the
The
orbs?
orbs, the big orbs. And the root word for angel is athelion, which is Latin for sun. So I think it's really interesting that, but in any event, I strongly believe that since 2016, I really believe that the positive aliens have showed back up, and they
Yeah.
erected something called the barrier around our solar system, and have kicked the Alpha Draconian out. And the Alpha Draconian, in order to get home, they gave up the entire Illuminati
Yes.
in order to escape this, what's going to happen, which is going to be a mass arrest. Now, everything that you see today, everything that we're witnessing today, is a fight to try to get away with the crimes against humanity.
Yep.
And it has a lot to do with time travel, with the Looking Glass device and the Orion cube. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah.
It's also a quantum time viewing device. Allegedly it was a gift from Orion that was gifted to the Freemasons. But I've also heard stories that it was found in a crash. I think it was a gift. I think that there are positive aliens in Orion, but to keep it simple, And overall, the Orion group is a satanic force.
Yeah.
And with the evidence that I have, it makes sense because there's so much evidence. Can I share my screen?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
All right, great. Thank you. So let me go through a few things here. These are the Nazca alien mummies. And what had happened was there were 7 bodies found in the Nazca Peru desert in 2016 in a cave by a cave robber or a grave robber, and brought to these scientists who Gaia TV released in 2017.
Right.
And when I saw the beings, I thought to myself, nah, this is kind of these small little beings, they're only 2 foot tall. No way. But when I saw the x-rays, I knew they were real.
So did they found those aliens over there at the Nazca lines?
Near the Nazca lines, yes, in Nazca, Peru. So, I knew that these little beings were absolutely real because of the x-rays, because you can't fake nature. You can't fake nature. No artist could possibly, create this kind of brain structure, bone structure, all of it. So I knew they were real based on the evidence.
Right.
A week later, I realized that they were the same beings sitting with King Akhenaten and Queen Nefertiti.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
There they are. You see the little ones?
Yeah.
You see how they're pointing at each other? Do you see how their hands are admiring King Akhenaten and
Yes.
they're admiring Queen Nefertiti? So this is what I realized, okay? These beings were called Aten, which means sun god. They were also called the one true God.
Oh.
And what happened was in the beginning of Egypt, there were many gods.
Yeah.
Okay. All of a sudden, King Akhenaten shows up, gets rid of all the gods, all the other gods, and declares that there is one true God. His name is Aten, the sun god.
Right.
Then Akhenaten leaves. They don't know what happened to him. Either he got run out, he got assassinated, he left. All the other gods came back after his rule.
So then where did they go before?
These beings retook humanity and Earth. And I say retook because this is Egypt. This is Sumerian, thousands of years earlier. Okay. And what this told me, once I knew that we were dealing with little 2 foot tall beings, I realized, hey, there they all are, throughout Sumerian, all being taken over by another group of beings.
Oh, were those the ones there on top? Indeed, the what they called those really tall. They're the tall ones.
Some are called the Anunnaki, Anki.
Yeah.
I really, it's very convoluted, especially with Zachariah Stitchin's work.
Yes.
Because he was a disinformation agent.
Yeah, I heard that.
He was actually hanging out with the Satanic Cabal, doing all of their satanic rituals and stuff.
Yeah.
So, but once I had these little beings, I was like, hey, you know what? They're all throughout Sumerian here, and they're all being taken over.
So then by who were they taken over?
I believe the Orion group.
Oh.
it would make sense because Orion is every single
Wait, but then weren't they also from the Orion group, since they were found at the Nazca lines and they were actually mummified? So wouldn't
these
that be
beings actually, I think that these beings actually come from Sirius B, but I'm not sure. I think they might come from Sirius B, and I get that from the Dogen tribe, who have the little beings as their headdresses. They were called the Namo, but I'm not sure about that. All I can say is, in the Sumerian times, here is a Moloch with the little beings being brought to her, and they're, so it. But what this says to me is that there is good and evil.
right?
So, one side and the other side, Moloch and all of her friends. So, and it's the same thing. And what I realized, basically, it's very simple. Humanity has been in the middle of a war, an
Yeah,
extraterrestrial war that has been raging on since probably before humanity.
right.
But
Because
since humanity's conception, it's 70,000 years ago, that's when things really started to, happen for humanity, when we started making things 70,000 years ago. So, but yeah, I think it's really interesting to see these beings in Sumerian time being taken over, being stepped on, being run over, being taken over. And then to see them again in Egypt 1,000 years later, there were many gods, and then all of a sudden there was one true God. These beings are the only beings ever depicted in their likeness throughout all of history. Why? Why are they the only beings ever depicted in their likeness?
but who says that the other ones didn't look like that, the way they were depicted?
Well, that's true. Well, that's true. Yeah, you're right about that. I think that's true. Yeah, you got me on that one. I mean, especially with the horns and Moloch having the horns. But I think that this is much clearer as far as.
Well, but obviously you've got also the mummies of it, so you can prove that they look the same. We don't have
Yeah,
the
it's the
mummies of the
same.
others.
Well, it's the same species.
Exactly.
So not only were they here 5,000 years ago with the Nazca alien mummies 15,000 years ago, 1,500 years ago, but they are recently here. This was an alien found in Russia, and it is the same species, and it's gray.
Yeah, it looks like it.
So
So was that one wounded or something with a
it
battle?
was wounded. Yeah, somebody ripped off its leg.
Well, yeah, I see that, but I mean, was it the Russians or was it
I don't think so. I think that it probably was in a fight with some other being,
well,
maybe a reptilian. I don't know, but I can say that with these little beings, another species was found. This is Maria. She's the 5 foot tall species. So, and I found a picture of what she looks like alive with the same hand, based on the same hand and the abdominal wall features
oh, with the three fingers.
with the 3 fingers.
Oh,
Yes.
I saw that. I saw a documentary about Maria, how
So,
they scanned her in the, to see what's inside.
yes. Yeah, on Gaia TV, probably.
Um, I don't think so because I haven't been on Gaia forever. But
Okay.
yeah,
So, um, so, I that is very significant because, well, we have the bodies, we have the alien bodies, and not only that, but they were in, Egyptian time.
Yeah. Well, that's a good thing that you find these bodies, because then you can actually compare them with the depictions that you have.
And not
And
only that, but it's evidence, it's direct evidence. We have the bodies that aliens are real, that they're here, that they're gray, that we've been lied to.
yeah,
And I think that that's extremely, valuable. But so what I realized was, a week after they came out, I realized that they were the same species sitting with King Akhenaten. That was July 25th, 2017, 4.5 years ago. Do you know how many people I've shown this image to in the scientific realm? Millions and millions of people. Nobody ever gets back to me.
No, they don't talk about it.
One of the most important realizations in human history, nobody got back to me.
No, of course not, because it's the same that I was talking to James Gilliland. Like, there's so much proof over there, and yet they never film what they're supposed to film.
So that led me to like really going through all of the evidence and determining that I've discovered about 15 different types of extraterrestrials, that real beings.
God, they're all butt ugly, aren't they?
Yeah, that's terribly ugly looking. I believe this is a reptilian. This is Jonathan Reed, Dr. Jonathan Reed's alien. That this is a gray.
Yeah.
Stan Romanak's alien.
Yes, I read his books.
That took me a very long time. That took me a few years to figure that out. That this one was an actual gray, and I can show you how I figured that out. But really, this is a Zeta Reticuli. But in reality, I didn't really do it for the people. Well, I did it for the people to know the truth, but I also did this work to show the elite and the government, hey, I have the evidence against you guys. You guys are lying through your teeth.
Yeah.
About everything. Did
you get any backlash about that? Obviously you did, but I mean,
yeah, of course. I've spent years attacking them. I mean, I used to attack them. That was the first thing I did once I had all the evidence. I started to attack all the scientists, the ancient astronaut, alien astronauts, the government, senators, Republicans and Democrats, just anyone I could possibly think of. And I did get a response from NASA.
Oh, you did?
Yes, they were the only ones. I attacked all of them for about 8 months straight with all of the evidence, with all the pictures of the aliens and all that. And the only response I got was from NASA. And they said about 2 weeks after my attack, they came out and said, this is the Dogen tribe. You see the little beings?
Right.
That's where I get that they may be coming from. Sirius B, the little beings. Let's see. Oh yeah, here it is. So tiny aliens may have visited us and we just simply didn't know. NASA.
Well, if you could find it, then they could find it. So why don't they know?
So what I did was I was attacking them with all the evidence of the pictures and the bodies and the x-rays. And I'm like, I attacked NASA. I attacked the Joint Chiefs of Staff. I attacked the U.S. Navy. I attacked the White House. And after about 2 weeks or a month of doing this, just dropping all of the evidence all over their Twitter accounts. And it wasn't, for them to see it, but it was for the rest of the world who was like going to type in a comment, and then they would come across all these pictures of all these aliens.
So they
So,
didn't remove you on Twitter?
oh yeah, I've had about 50 accounts.
Ah, I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah, they don't keep me on. I cannot be on Twitter. I'm not allowed on YouTube. I'm not allowed on Facebook.
Right.
Because of this, I've been sharing information, trying to wake up the people like, hey, no, aliens are real. We have the evidence. We've had the bodies in the public realm for the past 4.5 years. But yeah, I'm a result of this because I was attacking them with the evidence. So a few weeks after attacking them, they came out and said that tiny super intelligent alien beings may have already visited Earth, but humans simply didn't notice them.
Well, I think humans actually noticed them before they ever reported on it, but now they
Yes,
have to report on it.
but which tiny super intelligent alien beings were they referring to?
Yeah, they're not saying that, do they?
That's the problem. That's the problem I had. I wrote all of the reporters who wrote about the tiny super intelligent alien, asking them which you have to ask NASA which tiny super intelligent alien beings you were referring to.
Well, yeah, but that's nobody does that, do they? Because nobody
They're
wants.
too, well, they're too controlled and they're too stupid because they don't have any idea how significant this is. This
Right.
is so significant, it will change the world, all of the world as we know it for all time. We're not alone. We've been kept in the dark this whole time intentionally because humanity has secretly been enslaved by this Orion group, and the Illuminati, the elite, have been worshiping these beings. They've been worshiping the aliens who've been keeping us asleep, enslaving us. This is the core of Satanism. This is why the whole pizza, you know what happened. This
So
thing
do
right here.
you? Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I followed that obviously closely. So do you have the Nazca line? Can you show the map?
Yes, I'm gonna touch on that right now. So okay, this is the map that I came up with. Okay, I thought it was a three-dimensional star map. And what they are pulsars. They're pulsar stars. So for Aborigines to know what a pulsar is 2,500 years ago, impossible. Impossible. It was it was done by extraterrestrials. Now this white map, you see the white map,
Yeah.
that is the from the 1994 UNESCO Historical Society. Now, it took me a little bit of time. It took me like a year or two to be like, hey, you know what? Why don't I just go to the site and look at it? And I did. I Googled it, and I could tell that there was this white map is only a 16th of the entire map in its entirety. And I can show you, you can see my arrow, right?
Yeah.
Okay. The white map is about right in here in the box that I'm drawing with my arrow.
Wow.
So the rest of the site has, really fine lines in the rest of the site. So it stretches on and on and on. But I did realize, luckily for me, that the entire site is in the shape of Orion.
Yeah.
So I think it's really interesting. And I think that, that what the Nazca lines are a territory map. And it's to, tell other extraterrestrials, hey, this belongs to us.
Right.
Anyone
It's
who knows, anyone who
marking.
knows Orion the Hunter, stay away.
Right.
So
So what's
this
the Hawaiian? Yeah.
this
Hawaii.
is yeah, this is on Hawaii, and this is when I was looking at the star compass in on the Hawaii Islands, and it's the same thing. They're pulsars. They're pulsar maps in the Hawaii maybe I can find a map.
What does it mean, a pulsar map? A pulsar.
Let me see if, yeah, here we go. A pulsar is, for example,
Like
or
it gives off messages, signs.
no, a pulsar is the sun, like a star, that's pulsing. The way it pulses,
Right.
that can be measured. Let me see if I can find. Ooh, Nazca lines. All right. Okay, so on the Voyager spacecraft, right, there's something called the Golden Record.
Okay.
And on that Golden Record is something called the Sol Pulsar Star Map. That says to, with the light spectrum, it says this star. That's what, it's a signature. But, only with, an advanced society would what a pulsar is. Not some Aborigines, 2,500 years ago. And not only that, but because they put the pulsar star map of Sol, our sun, on the Voyager spacecraft in the 70s, this told me that they already figured out this whole map a long, long time ago.
Yeah, they just didn't talk about it.
They already figured this whole thing out years ago. They knew all about Orion. They've been secretly working with Orion.
Well, yeah, and they worship them. So obviously,
And they were, yeah, exactly. They worship them. But this is in Hawaii. This is the big island of Hawaii. This is where the Orion is. But this is where all of these pulsar star maps are.
Oh,
just
wow.
like the Nazca lines. So as you can see, do you see all the lines?
Oh, wow. I didn't even know they had that there.
Yeah, nobody does.
Amazing.
Because they've been kept secret from humanity. But as you can see,
but what can we do with it, knowing it? I mean, what?
Well, I mean, they're for sure done by extraterrestrials. Now, well, what do you mean? What can be done with it? What can be done with it?
That you said they hide them from us, but even if we know about it, then yes. What? Right?
Well, we just keep exposing it for what it is. So I was looking for more pulsar maps. I'm like, what else is around here? And then I came across this. There's Orion carved right into the side of Hawaii. It's Orion.
Which is a large area, so it's not like humans cannot do that.
No, human beings wouldn't be able to have done that. Unless without, satellite, well, I mean, nowadays, but this looks old. This looks, ancient. They're lines that have been, but it is Orion. And why would it be in the shape of Orion? So it's Orion. But I found that just by looking around. Now, so it's nearly identical to the Nazca lines.
Yeah.
So it just says a lot. Now, I
wonder where else they would have these markings, because
they're all over the world. They're all over the world.
Yeah, I would say so.
Not only that, but they're human made too. I'll show you the pyramids in Giza aligned to Orion's belt.
Yeah.
The pyramids in
they are open about that. I mean,
they haven't admitted to it, and for right now and since the 90s, it's been called the Orion theory, or correlation theory. But
right.
The problem is
but also one of the chambers of the Giza pyramid that points directly to that star, the what's it? the brightest star over there? Well,
Beetlejuice, maybe.
yeah. So that
Rigel?
yeah,
I don't.
you know how they have the chamber and that points towards the sky. Uh,
Yes,
yeah. So
I
and it points directly there.
I have it somewhere, but yes, yes. But anyway, the She pyramids in China align to Orion.
I never knew there were pyramids over there until recent.
Yeah, I know, right? Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
So, the Naba Playa, which is in Egypt, aligns to Orion. The Teotihuacan in Mexico aligns to Orion's belt. You see
Yeah.
the common theme here.
Yeah.
The Adams calendar, 13,000 years ago, aligns to Orion's belt.
But then I
Oh
wonder, was this all made in the same time period? Because it must be.
no, no, this was 13,000 years ago. The Teotihuacan was about 2,000 years ago. Egypt was what, 5,000?
Oh wow. So there's so well, obviously time is a different concept, obviously, for with these aliens. So
Well, they've been here for thousands of years. They just set up camp all over the world and
well,
at
yeah.
different times.
So
Um,
how do you make of Stonehenge and the Orion clock? Because
sure, Stonehenge is part of Orion fits perfectly in with Stonehenge. Now, what was it used for? It was used for when the aliens came down and they were given their sacrifices to eat right off of the slaughter stone.
yikes.
And now what happened was somebody found out about what was going on at Stonehenge. And they went back to their tribe and they told everybody, and everybody came out and they destroyed Stonehenge.
Because I've understood it has still today a massive magnetic field around it. I've seen a documentary about it with people that were dowsing, and that thing went crazy over there.
Um, I I I think that what was going on was the aliens would show up at night after the sun fell between the heel stone.
Right.
Heel, like heal your dog, like heal. And I think it was to heal humanity. So I think that night the aliens would show up and collect their offering. And I think that the people saw that happen and they trashed Stonehenge. They tried to destroy it.
Right.
Thousands of years ago, they probably thought, it was the devil or whatever.
But there's no
Um,
way they were able to do that because these things are
no,
really
they tried.
massive.
Yeah, they tried really hard to knock over a few of the pillars, and they did. They were successful at knocking down a few of them, but the elite rebuilt it in 1901.
They did?
Yes, 1901. Stonehenge was rebuilt,
Oh,
and
wow.
that was to honor Orion. So there's also, let's see here. This is where they found the mass graves at that site at Stonehenge.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, where the elite were bringing foreigners there to be sacrificed. This is the American Stonehenge, believe it or not. That's what they call it. It's in New Hampshire, and it is in the shape of a pulsar map. And the same things there, a slaughter stone.
Where
So
is it? Oh, okay. There it is. Yeah.
this
Illinois.
this was in New Hampshire. But the same thing was going on the other side of the planet. Why were all these people killing people?
Well, wasn't that where what is it? Not was it not the Mayans, the other ones? I always mix them up the two. The
Incan?
the Incan, yeah, that had these like they
Inca.
chopped, yeah, they chopped the heads off and they sacrificed a lot of people. And then some apparently wanted to be sacrificed. They offered themselves to be sacrificed.
Yes. Oh yeah, there was a lot of that. There was a lot of that. This is the Chahokee Mounds in, I think it's Mississippi. No,
Oh wow.
Illinois. Orion's Belt,
Wow.
where they were doing the same thing. They were doing human sacrifice. The Thurborone hedges in is Orion. That's in England. It's in the shape of Orion's Belt.
Yeah. Wow.
Um, the full Digarn Hill Fort
You
in
know
the
what?
UK
You know how they
has
found
three piles.
The Bosnian pyramid, and I believe there are three pyramids over there as well.
I wouldn't be surprised because Orion is all over the place. There's one in Scotland.
Of course.
There's the New Grange in Ireland, where at the front of the door is in the shape of Orion.
Wow.
So they were worshiping Orion there. But you know what? And I'll get into it in a minute. But this is why there's many secret societies among the elite
Yeah, well, because
who have
then
been
it
working
stands to
together.
reason that all these old the people from those times, they were well aware of it. So these
Yes.
aliens were visiting them and they were
Yes.
well aware of it, because just like you look at all the um uh the natives in different countries, they know all about what was going on because they passed it on, right, generation after generation.
Yes, of course, yes. But humanity has been in the dark for so long. You see, what was happening was every time, the human beings would be hanging out around these temples going, why the hell are we sticking around this place? So they're feeding aliens. Let's get out of here.
Well, but
And they
if you
would
think about
leave.
if you think about religion, I can imagine that at those times, people, because let's face it, humanity wasn't that very evolved. So, obviously they worship whatever they think is more powerful.
Well, that's what's been going on and to today. And
Well,
that's what
yeah,
Illuminati has been worshiping and thinking that, well, they're super powerful, and if they want to trash humanity, let's help them. They've got all this technology and great stuff,
well,
so
isn't that what religions is all about? Also, to take your own power away out of your hands, right? So
well,
you gonna,
yes, that's what the Catholic Church has been doing for a very, very long time.
yeah,
They've been using religion as a ways and means to control people, when
yeah,
in fact they themselves have been working with the Satan worshipers for thousands of years. This is something they call the balance.
right.
They've been doing this hand in hand, working together. And what has the Catholic Church been doing, in all over the world for the past, thousands of years to children?
Right. Yeah, yeah, we know about that. I mean, actually, at the moment, they are trying to open that up here in our political um, party here. They are talking about it. They want to it investigated, but obviously, the head of justice, he doesn't want an independent um, research in it because they involved, right? And now it's becoming so obvious for even the people that are not red pilled yet. They can see that this is going on now because there's openly spoken about it now.
This is in Australia. There's Orion. There's a many of them. This is the German Stonehenge, they call it, which came to my attention. It's in Orion's Belt. This came to my attention. The cruel and twisted discoveries at Germany's Stonehenge. I didn't even know there was a Stonehenge in Germany,
I
but I
didn't. Yeah.
knew exactly what this was.
Right.
I knew exactly that I knew it was Orion, and lo and behold, yup, it's in Orion's Belt. So, and this is in the streets of Paris, France. There's Orion.
Yeah.
And what have the French been doing? They've been worshiping the eye, the
Always, yeah.
the all-seeing eye, the people-eating aliens who've been coming here from Orion. And Q
Wow.
has said many governments of the world feed the eye, which
Yeah.
I'm just about to touch on with, this is the Grand Canyon, the Hopi natives is Orion, all of it's Orion. And this is
Hopi?
Mayan is Orion, Hawaii.
Yeah, but do you think they're all evil though? Because as far as I know,
The
the Hopi,
Orion group is, yes.
well, the Hopi weren't evil.
No, but they were probably being, well, I've heard stories that they were good
Yeah,
in
because
the Hopi, but I don't know, because these are the Nazi death marches. These are the pathways leading to the Nazi death camps.
well,
Do you know what that means?
no. Well,
That means that we've been living on an adrenochrome harvesting world, and it means that they traded the Jews for technology with the aliens to be harvested.
well,
With
I'm
the
sure that underground is the same thing then, these tunnels in the shape of Orion.
Yes, the deep underground military bases in the shape of Orion in the heart of America are identical to the Nazi death marches. What do you think
Wow.
they were doing down there in the identical shape of the Nazi death marches?
Well,
They
yeah,
were
we know what they're doing there. I mean,
they
that's
were harvesting people there.
yeah.
We've been secretly living right next to a group of adrenochrome harvesters, far more powerful than us, far more powerful.
Well, they're
So
clearing those out now, and
yes,
many of them have been cleared out actually.
Orion's Belt in Manhattan. Sorry for getting through this.
No,
Uh,
no, don't worry.
Orion is the World Trade Center. That's the footprint.
Oh
Just
wow, I didn't know that.
pyramids. Yeah. Talk about 9/11. And I believe they did that because the bad aliens, quote unquote, so I've discovered, come from Mintaka, this star in Orion's Belt, the off star, which
Right.
is where the new Freedom Tower reigns. Okay, and then there's like 100 other pyramids that align to Orion. There's Orion on Mars. There is another Orion on Mars. The Vatican has Orion right next to it. Let's see. NASA logo has Orion, Draco, and the Palladian star systems. Why? To show the aliens whose side they're on. Now, the new Space Force logo does not have Orion in it.
That's good news.
That's good news, and they did that because, I believe because of my research, because of the deep underground military bases being identical to the Nazi death marches. So, this is the Air Force Memorial in the back of the Pentagon.
Right.
That aligns to Orion's Belt at 33 degrees in the sky. Pretty crazy, right?
Indeed.
And everything's Orion. They've been naming ships, spacecraft Orion, Orion laser, and this is why every single secret society, there are many different secret societies that work together because they have, look at the Bilderberg group. The Bilderberg group is
Yeah.
in the shape of Orion, but there are many of them because
You know the
Orion was having contact with them all over the world. So that's why there are many.
those are Romolo and Remus from Italy, the one next to the Bilderberg group, Court of the Wolves.
So,
and you know that the Bilderberg group was set up by the royals from my country.
Yeah, oh sure. Queen Beatrice.
Yep. Well, she's
So
not a queen anymore. It's now king. Her son
right.
is the king now.
So
And
what
and
happened?
they're married. He's married to this Argentina woman, right? That was in the regime from Fidela, her father.
So they cheated getting Joe Biden into office
Well,
and
yeah,
they used this solar winds to do it. Solar winds company to cheat. And what happened was Russia attacked solar winds with a some kind of virus.
right.
Turns out that solar winds is called, their network is called Orion.
Really?
These people are so stupid. Yeah, they're all
Well,
Satan worshippers.
you know who said that too, right? These
What?
people are stupid.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Yes. So that is at my website under Orion. Just, so many examples of Orion, but I think the most significant piece to this of my work, my research, is when I realized that one, they've been eating
Yeah.
people. They've been
Yeah.
adrenochrome harvesting.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of that.
So and we have many, many whistleblowers talking about adrenochrome harvesting, aliens, and yeah, that's what they've been doing to the cattle.
Yeah.
They've been eating them, but they've also been doing it to people this whole time. And this is the reason for Space Force, and they're about to tell the world what's been going on with the balance, with the real, or the truth of God and the truth of the devil, and what they've been doing here, which is going to scare the hell out of everyone.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I started my research a long time ago. I know, I mean, most people have no idea, right?
No one had any idea. I was the only one. Not the only one, I should say. There were many people talking about this, like, for example, Alex Collier was talking about the Orion group
Yeah.
and what they were doing to children in the early 90s. That they were eating children. The reptilians were eating children.
Yeah.
Now, Phil Schneider said that they were adrenochrome harvesting.
Yeah.
John Lear said that they were, doing this
Yeah. Stuff.
food stuff. And what I saw when I saw the bodies, I was like, Hollywood, right?
Yeah.
Oh, Hollywood. We have 3 bodies. That's Hollywood. I won't show it to you. But and when I started really looking at it, like, this evidence, I had to go over and over and over again to make sure that it was real, because it was like waking up in a fog. But when I really started to look at it, I started to realize, oh my God, their hair has about an inch worth of white in their hair. This girl is 17 years old. She was 17 years old, and she had an inch worth of white in her red hair. And that told me that she was tortured,
Wow.
which told me that all of the cattle mutilations and the human mutilations were actually adrenochrome harvesting.
Right.
They were torturing the victim for 45 minutes to an hour to have the body produce chemicals for these beings to collect and eat,
Yeah.
and probably trade off world, like the adrenochrome.
Yes.
So the truth would put 99% of the people in the hospital. That was Q.
Yeah.
And what I realized was, while going through, we have a half an hour's worth of Nazi UFOs flying around. And this is at my website, theorionlines.com. There's a half an hour video of these UFOs flying around.
Yeah.
It's
I've seen that.
information. It's like, wow, okay, these things were real. How the hell did the Nazis get their hands on this technology?
Yeah.
And I thought to myself in a very with a very sinister mind, because you really have to put your mind, you have to think like an elite, a person with,
Well, but
no,
they don't see themselves as equal to us, right?
right.
We're cattle to them. So,
Yes.
we cannot comprehend as to how.
Well, that's probably what gave me the edge, which was because, for me to think like a psychopath in order to catch a psychopath. So I thought psychopathically, what would be really crazy if they traded the Jews for technology. And I thought, why just kill them when you can kill them and trade for technology? It made sense. And that realization happened on 7/28, 2018. A year later is when I found evidence that I was right, that the Nazi death marches are in the shape of Orion.
Right.
So I proved my theory to be true. That's
But
what
I
they
wonder
did.
though, because we also know obviously that
I
number.
have a cigarette, do you mind?
No, that number of Jewish people that supposedly died, that increased every decade here in Europe. They even changed the plaque every single time with a higher number. But a lot of people don't know that as many Germans have been killed right after the war, in retaliation, like millions. And many of them went to the gulags in Russia. So, but nobody talked about that, obviously, because the history is written by the victors, and so there's so much more that people don't really know about. And
Oh yeah.
that the Nazis is not really about Germany, right?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. It wasn't. The whole thing was funded by these elite assholes.
Exactly.
These elite Rothschild and his friends.
Yeah,
They,
they've been around way longer than that, right?
they've been funding all of these wars, every single war that we've ever had. The
Yeah.
Civil War was never won. The Revolutionary War was never won. The
No,
Civil
no,
War was to take away black people's take the black people and put the black people into the monetary system, which is the real slavery.
well, in fact, it actually never ended, that war.
Well,
I mean, after Project Paperclip, they just continue what they do, just in a different way.
yeah, what they've been doing has been, constant warring over a conjuring. They've been conjuring up wars,
Yeah,
and then sacrificing people to, create more revenue, more money for them. And they play both sides like they've always have. And
exactly.
the World War II, this is how Germany stood right up right after World War II, was because they funded Germany again. And I believe they did that. I believe they were funding Germany to act as a doorstop to stop the spread of communist Russia into their precious Europe, to protect their banks in Europe. So they funded the hell out of Germany to act as a doorstop to stop the spread of communism, Russia. And the second time they did it, this is how Germany stood up real fast. Excuse me, after a world war, they stood up 20 years later, had new tanks, new planes, new
Yeah,
army, and new military. And then they made this trade with the Orion group that we had no idea about until I came along. And
well, Phil Schneider actually mentioned a lot of this as well, because actually that's where I started my research with him.
Yeah,
Uh,
I prove Phil Schneider to be telling the truth.
yeah. Well, yeah.
Four different ways. Yeah, four different ways I can show you.
Well, he was around for a long time, right? And I've been watching all his documentary or lectures that he gave and all that. At the time, it's well, I started about 20 years ago.
Yeah. Um, these are the Nazca alien mummies,
Hmm.
and they have metal implants in their hands and in their chest.
What do they do?
Well, I think they're their weapons.
Really?
And I think that because Phil Schneider's account of seeing an alien down in there underground, and it rubbed its chest, and a blue beam came out and hit him and opened him up like a fish. Well,
Yeah.
that, once I saw these x-rays, I was like, hey, those are probably their weapons.
But those were
But
not the tiny aliens, though.
yeah, this was the tiny one. This is the tiny one.
Yeah, but the ones that Phil Schneider talked about, they were taller than that.
Yeah, this x-ray is one of the tiny ones,
All
and
right.
the hands are of the bigger species.
So, do you think that multiple of these aliens had that in them?
Yes,
The-
I wouldn't be surprised that a lot
Yeah.
of them have been copycatting each other
Well,
with
yeah.
technology. But I don't know who he saw, which species of extraterrestrial he saw down there.
Oh, I
But
remember him sharing pictures as well from the underground where there was this war going on, where there was this shooting.
Mhm.
Wasn't that where he also lost his fingers?
Yes, yeah, and Dulcie.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the other thing to this is, why are all the hands of the three-fingered hands cut off? They have been finding all of these hands in the Nazca Peru desert. And what I realized is, oh, well, they've been rendering their weapons inoperable by cutting them off of the hands. Makes
Oh,
sense, right?
that does make sense indeed.
Yeah, I got pretty far with this, but it's unfortunate because nobody, lots of people just thought I was crazy, and they thought, I was full of shit, and they thought I needed help. And
It usually happens when you find a lot of stuff. I mean,
oh
let's face it,
yeah, let
today,
me tell.
even with the red pilling, like there's still a lot of people that think, even without these stories, they still think that we're crazy. So,
Yes, oh yeah. Even with the evidence, they don't even
yeah,
realize that this is evidence.
right.
They've been, because we've been all brainwashed,
Yeah.
because we were being set up for an alien invasion.
Yeah. And now they have other plans, but they continue, but now they're in a
Matt,
panic. And it's very noticeable.
did you know that?
Yeah.
We were just about to all be adrenochrome harvested and enslaved by the Orion group.
Right.
And the reason why that was called Agenda 21, this
Yep.
is why Trump got the military got Trump involved and Q involved and turned it around, and why pizza, what happened,
Yeah.
and turned it around on these elite, because they were setting us up for something they've been calling the Great Culling, Culling,
Oh, right.
which is on the first page of the Orion lines. This is why they built all the FEMA camps, and
Yes.
why they have something called the Zombie Apocalypse Protocol,
Uh-huh.
because that was to teach the military how to deal with us, the zombies, who had no idea about the aliens,
Right.
and they were calling it the Great Culling. So what they did was they were going to have us all harvested by these aliens and enslaved by these aliens. And even Q touches on it. Perhaps someday people will understand they had a plan to conduct another mass extinction event.
Yeah.
That was Agenda 21. This is why we're on the timeline 1 and not timeline 2. Timeline 2 was Agenda 21. Timeline 1 is Agenda 30, which I believe is going to be a nuclear war. World War I, World War II, orchestrated and planned by select families.
I don't think we're on that timeline anymore, but obviously they're fighting back. But I mean, there's no stopping people from waking up.
Time is weird. Time is funny, but I think it was either a falsity or the truth. Either the aliens were going to come out and do this harvest, because all of the Satan worshipers out there are going, prepare to get harvested, prepare to get abducted. This is the lead singer of Tool, and his Lucifer. Invasion was his new album. Invasion, prepare to be abducted. And this gave me a lot of information. His band here, this told me that there was a monarchy of the Orion group called the Orion Queen, and she sends the Greys here. But his band also allowed me to figure out which species was the actual Grey. It's Stan Romanak's Grey.
Right. I've seen that footage actually.
As you can see, the UFO is picking up the baby as food with the tower burning. There's Marilyn Manson, who came out saying, prepare. Never-ending astral vampire.
Wow.
So they knew, the elite knew all about the alien invasion that they were setting us up for.
Yeah.
They all knew. Okay.
Oh, so gosh, yeah. This is a new one, right?
This is why Q says they won't be able to walk down the street.
Yes.
Because when the people find out what they were planning for us, we were just about to be taken over by an alien invasion, which was stopped in 2018. I have evidence of that.
Yeah.
I have evidence that it was stopped, but the evidence of it being stopped was the evidence that it was real. Also.
Well, yeah, I knew about that, but I do know that we changed the timeline. And and now obviously there's still stuff going on like this here.
Yeah, they think that it's still going to happen.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
They're unaware of the double cross the military did. You see, the Catholic Church knew all about this.
Yeah.
The Catholic Church knew all about what the aliens were doing, the evil satanic side of the group. They were eating human beings. This is the weight of the knowledge, wading through a pool of blood. What the hell is the Pope doing that for?
That's not the Pope, is it?
Huh?
It's not the Pope, is it?
I think it is the Pope. That's one of the popes. One of them. But that's the great knowledge, walking through a pool of blood. Jesus. And that's knowing
blatant, huh?
That's knowing about the adrenochrome harvesting satanic group. So let me with the evidence that the adrenochrome harvest was stopped. This was leaked December 7th, 2018. An unprecedented amount of activity at Area 51, lizard people coming out of the desert. And I was like, holy shit, really? What's going on at Area 51?
Yeah, well, I remember this actually because I was on the chance at the time. This is from the chance.
12 days later, a gigantic pyramid arrived over the Pentagon.
I've seen that footage.
That told me that the information 12 days earlier was true.
Exactly.
That told me that the aliens showed up at the Pentagon trying to figure out what the hell these aliens, these humans were doing, kicking them out of Area 51.
Yeah.
To show up like that and expose themselves told me that there it is. That,
I've seen that footage.
So we have there are 4 different, perspectives, different views, footage of the Pentagon Pyramid, which is a tetrahedron-shaped craft, which is the all-seeing eye. And it was over the Kremlin. It's been seen over Shanghai, China recently. It was over Colombia where they were actually shooting at it. That's what I believe is an actual gray. It's the
Mm.
same species. So,
I think there are many types of grays, actually.
well, there are many types of grays, but the military has a certain term for the known gray, which
Right.
is Stan Romanak is the
Yeah.
what the military terms gray.
Yeah.
So these people all knew, they're all guilty of knowing and helping set us all up for an alien invasion. The Illuminati. They've all been planning for that's their big secret.
So then, where do you think we are now in this timeline or whatever timeline it is? Because
Well, I think that the the satanic cabal is completely exposed. Um, I
yeah,
think that there is so much, information and evidence um, um,
well, they're on their last legs, aren't they?
that has been collected for the past 5, 6, who knows how long with the NSA. It could be 20 years of information where they're just like, listen, these guys have been running human trafficking, drug running, money laundering, all these wars, all, throughout all human history. It might come as a big judgment day. And I wouldn't be surprised. In fact, what I'm thinking might happen is that a comet will fall from the sky.
You
That's
do.
what they've been. That's what they've been planning. Yeah, that's what the invasion. The comet is known as the harbinger of death throughout all history. It's always been known as the harbinger of death, and this is why James Elefantis named his pizzeria Comet Ping Pong.
Mm-hmm.
This is
Yeah, we
also
weren't supposed to say all these words, remember?
yes. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, it's possible this video is going to be taken down. So,
Well, um, there's also let me think. A Tool song called Anima that goes on saying, some say a comet will fall from the sky, followed by meteor showers and tidal waves.
do you think
And
that's still going to happen then?
I
Because,
think I think what's going to happen is because Q has said there's going to be a sky event. I think that they're going to use a fake alien invasion to
but
catch these
but
people,
that was the old timeline, though.
to catch these people, to catch to trick the deep state into thinking that it's time, and then they'd go walking willingly into the military's arms. I think that that's what
Why
might
would they
happen.
do that? Why would they do it that elaborated? Why not just go
I
for it?
I call it Operation Pokemon. You got to catch them all.
Well, yeah, but they don't need to do something like that because they would actually scare the people as well. So yeah, I think if anything, they would do it
I
behind the
agree.
scenes.
Well, that's just a speculation.
All right.
It's a theory. I really, it's just a speculation. Like based on the evidence that I've seen, based on why has it been 5 years of waiting around? Why aren't
I
they're
don't think
they're
I
waiting for something? They're
I
waiting
think a
for
lot
something.
is happening in the meantime behind the scenes, though,
Yeah. Oh,
that we
it
can't
has been.
see. Yeah.
Yes. And especially with the UFO guy who came out of the Pentagon, Lou Elizondo, talking about the balance
Right.
and talking about, how um, there are forbidden truths, untold truths that would upset this balance that's been around for a very long time. And that, what if I told you that certain things weren't exactly accurate, that you've been taught weren't exactly accurate?
Well,
So there, it's leading up, and that humanity is not necessarily the top of the food chain. So it's leading up. I mean, we're really close, and it's been 4 years since they came out and started telling people the truth. So for him to start saying that kind of stuff recently, we're very close for them to reveal, this is what's been going on here.
there's
And
a lot of military movement going on, especially in Europe now at the moment.
yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. Isn't
And
it really interesting how China wants to invade Taiwan, right? And then all of a sudden, Russia is getting ready to invade, what is it, Ukraine, I think?
well, that's interesting. You say that. I didn't even know about that, but I saw a prediction this week from a guy. He's from England, and apparently he's very good. And he's been predicting a lot of stuff that has come true. And he
Mhm.
was actually predicting for 2022 um, um, tension between China and Taiwan, and also Russia being involved in some war.
Well,
So
it's really interesting
I
that
didn't know what you just said. I didn't know that was actually,
NATO is very upset about Russia.
well, yeah, who isn't about Russia?
Why are
Everybody,
they upset about China?
well, duh, we know that.
Why did they skip over the she in the Greek alphabet, naming this Omicron, the new virus? Why did they do that?
Yeah.
And
Well,
that's because the reality of it is that it's a bioweapon, and it was released by China.
yeah, well, we know that. And by the way, I mean, things are so blatant now. Well, for those with eyes to see, it's very, very visible what's going on. Um,
Yeah, right. For those for eyes to see.
yeah.
Yeah, humanity is under attack. We have been, in the middle of this war that has been raging on for thousands of years, and we had no idea until pizza, what.
Well, no, for me, it was way earlier than that. But
Really? Yeah.
yeah, I've been awake for 20 years. I've been doing
Yeah.
that stuff for Phil Schneider 20 years ago. I
Yeah.
mean, I've been through all that, right? And but obviously everybody in its own time. But eventually now, today, we can see how blatant it is.
Yeah.
Because before they did hide it, but now they don't even hide it anymore.
No, it's gotten too big, too fast. But they have done a lot
That's
of
the
damage.
panic, right? That's the panic. I see it in our parliament. They don't even hide their crap anymore. They don't even hide their lies anymore.
It's
I mean,
awful. It's awful.
yeah,
It's really disturbing.
it,
And what it is it's the elite trying to save their future.
well, yeah, but you can see that they now are in a panic, aren't they? I
Oh, they
mean,
are now. Yeah. Oh, yes,
and that's
absolutely.
what we're feeling right now is that ramping up of this war that's going on. And, it is, yeah, it's a tough one because, you guys in America have it still easy compared to us here. We're on our verge of a police state here. Austria
Yeah.
is already in a police state, right? We're in a lockdown again. And
Yeah.
soon the jabbed, we're not able to go anywhere, right? We're already there, same as where Austria is right now. That it's a complete police state, and people that are jabbed cannot go anywhere. They cannot work. They cannot do anything. Australia is there as well. And it literally in weeks you can see your country changed. I see that here. And like a few weeks ago I didn't think it would be that bad. No, well, we are there right now, right? And this is why America needs to stick to their guns, because we have police force actually being so violent, beating us to pulp. We cannot do anything back. The reason they can't do that in America is because Americans have weapons. So but yeah, it's I wonder how long we can cope with that over here, because things in other countries that do not have the right to bear arms, they are now, we are now in hell. Yeah, Mel here in the chat, she's also, we've been through hell, but it's in the last 4 months. That's where we are going through now. And it only adds up from there, and I just hope that something is going to change soon, because this is really difficult to uphold as a human being, because I can see the stress everywhere. Hi,
Oh yeah,
Leo. Good to see you. Sorry, I
yeah,
had to read her.
that's okay. So overall, over everything, yeah, it's going to be a very difficult time when the truth comes out.
Yeah. Oh God, I can't wait for that. I mean, for me, I don't care. Those that are not awake, well, they're not awake, but it's rather that we're going through the
It's
hard
important.
parts.
It's important to be aware of that. It's not going to be a simple, easy time of everybody's going to ascend and everything's going to be love, light, and happiness. A lot of darkness is going to come out. A lot of truth is going to happen fast, and people are going to be terrified once they find out that they're people eating,
Yeah. Yeah.
coming, living here this whole time, ruling over us, the Illuminati worshiping them, and setting us up for an alien invasion. But overall, I think that you should be aware of what's going to happen. It's not going to be easy for us even. I mean, we may be aware of it, but for all those crazy people out there who have no idea what's going on, it's going to be very traumatic for them. And I'm just gonna leave it like, just be prepared to help others who are going to have who are total denial about this.
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
this is why we're here. We're here to be of service to those who have been living in denial and or totally, um ignorant to, what's been going on around us,
Yeah.
because they're going to have a very difficult time coping with, some of this stuff.
Oh, absolutely. But
So
at this point, I'm at a point where I'm like, okay, all the information is out there. People can find it if they want to. If they don't wake up, well, what can we do about it at this point?
well, they're going to have to tell them. They can't go on going, there's nothing to the aliens anymore. That's not true, not based off the evidence that I have. So
Yeah, true. But it's going to be hard. It's actually also hard for those that are awake, as we can
yeah,
see.
for sure, I've gained like 150 pounds from my research. It's
Oh,
been very
yeah.
difficult for me. Yeah.
Well, you do need to watch also your health, because it's very, very important.
Yep.
I talk about that a lot, because I think that is very I think that it's a very important thing to to consider, is the health, because when things are going to get rougher, it's going to affect our health.
I thought that it would be a lot easier to use the information, the evidence, to teach people what's been going on, and it wasn't. And with that, I think I, expected a lot more people to be like, hey, this guy has evidence to what's going on here, and I thought that it would spread like wildfire, and it didn't. It
No,
did
no,
when
no.
when it should have, but it didn't, because it's so because we've been so badly lied to and brainwashed that that's just ridiculous. And I think that that was very heartbreaking for me. You know,
Yeah, well,
it was
I
just
started my research with our favorite Anon 17, and the first drop just fell right in front of my nose. And I've been researching like for a year intensively, with 4 hours sleep a night. And everybody was so pumped, and we were like, we're going to red pill everybody. Well, we did red pill a lot of people, but
yeah.
now we're at the point where people should be able to wake up themselves. If they don't, then so be it. And, it's
Oh. This is what they're calling why they call it the Great Awakening, because they're about to tell them. They're
yeah.
gonna get red pill straight up there, you know what, and whether they like it or not. And it's not going to be, easy. Just letting you know.
Yeah.
So aliens are real, and yep, Orion is deeply involved. And that's pretty much it. Pretty much. I mean, there's so much information. I could go on for hours.
Well, I want to thank you for being here and telling your story, your research that you've done. You worked very hard for that, especially that angle from the Nazca lines and all that stuff, because I didn't know anything about that really. And so I found that really interesting. I didn't research that part, but I did research a lot about the aliens. But I'm really thankful to know about it, and I hope people will actually check out your website, because I did put it in the description. And so, yeah, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. I've had a very lovely time. Thank
Yeah,
you
and
very
maybe will you get more research done, because I know once you go into it, you don't stop anymore, do you? And you find more, then we're gonna have you
I
back.
would like to. I would like to, because I've gotten to the point where it's just like, the military knows all this stuff. Why am I sitting here typing, UFOs to each other or typing extraterrestrial? The military already knows all this stuff.
Well, because you do it for the people to wake them up,
That's
not the
right.
military, right?
Yeah, that's right. Well, for the people and to show the military what I have, so I can go, you have to tell them the truth.
Right.
It's too much. You guys were trading aliens' children for technology, and out of that, you guys created this entire pedophile ring back there with the military.
Yeah.
That's what they did.
Yeah.
And
Well, the military is also separated in certain factions, is what I understand. So, but we're gonna have you back the more that because it's not useless to do research, because people always find different angles, and I think it's
right.
important for people to, even for especially for those awake as well, to learn more about it.
Yeah, of course there's my own perspectives. I tried to come from it from a Zen Buddhist perspective of question everything.
Yeah.
Is this true or not, for myself? Not just me, but true self, which is all people, all of us. There's no
Right.
separation here. There's no separation. So it's either true or it's not true. It's not your reality or my reality, but our reality. So, I really came from it from this perspective, an awakened state of mind to,
Yeah.
do it that way. So, I never did it for anything. I wasn't making anything up. I went off of all the evidence, and, it's up to you. It's up
Yeah.
to you, you know.
Absolutely.
So thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Yeah, thank you. And for everybody, thank you for coming. I will have on Thursday, I will have Christian Sundberg, and he's somebody that remembers his past lives, which is very interesting. So I'm going to have him on. Go check it out. Also, don't forget my merch shop, which is sitting there idle because I forgot about it myself to promote it. So with this, I'm promoting it. And thank you everybody for coming. I'll be back on Thursday, and thank you so much, Ryushin, for coming. And I hope you'll be back when you have some more research done as well.
Oh, I have so much more I could tell you. It's not a problem. Anytime.
All right. I like
Anytime.
that. And apparently the chat likes it too. Thank you
Great.
all, and have a great, great night.
Yeah.